Hey everybody, I'm Mama Chris, and this is episode 14 of Rebel Faith. I've changed things up a little bit, and I think I'm going to keep it this way going forward because um, it's more intimate, and I think I'm going to be just doing random shows and putting them on my YouTube and basically documenting the awakening. There's a lot of things that I want to talk about because it's very important to me that people during this awakening, a lot of people are awakening from religion and I like to focus on that part of it. But basically, during this awakening, the darkness is getting darker and the light is getting lighter. With Charlie Kirkpatrick and just a lot of war, there's just upheaval going on all over the world, and but there are those that are waking up that are catching on to the lies that we have been made to believe that we're finding out aren't true. And one of those lies is Christianity. Not that it's a lie, but it didn't tell you the whole truth of what Jesus was really trying to get us to understand. What he was trying to get us to understand was to be like him, not just to um, be saved, because in actuality, you can't just be saved. You're a God being, and you're creating your reality with your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So even after you die, if believing in Jesus has made you feel that you are free from ugliness, and that you're covered, and that you're beautiful, and that you won't see anything dark, it's not only going to make you see a heavenly place when you leave, but if you understand that you can have that now, you can experience that right now. And what I'm trying to do is get humanity to wake up, and so that we could all understand that this earth, the way it is, we've been creating it. It has been our thoughts and feelings and emotions, because we were lost, we were lied to, we were told we were separate from God, we were told that we had to reach out into the sky for God. And that's not the way it is. The way it is we create our reality. How you choose to do that is entirely up to you. There is no one judging you. There is no one um, going to throw you in hell or let you experience heaven. You are going to keep going when you die. You're an energy God being, and the experiences you have are up to you. I think collectively here, what we have going on is we're trying to wake up and understand that we are, and we're building the new earth. We're not believing the lies anymore. We're telling those that are telling us that everyone has to live, go to school, have 2.5 babies, and you know pay your taxes, obey the government, and then die. We're finding out that that's pretty much not true at all. And we can have a world where everyone can do what makes them passionate, and everyone can be fed, and everyone can have water and food and shelter and love. That it's not some pie in the sky notion that we just have to suck it up and deal with. Healing is possible for everyone. Um, so I'm not really trying to edit these videos. I'm not trying to polish it anymore. I'm just getting on here raw and real. You may find that you'll see on my channel, rebelfaithpodcast.com, you'll see that my YouTube is there, and that I'm just randomly posting videos just out of the blue. If for nothing else, just documentation of this era that we're moving into as humans, leaving the old era of survival of the fittest, dog eat dog, And we're moving into this beautiful new era where we realize that we're really one, and it's about love and unity. And I really had that enlightenment experience back in January. It changed my life. I don't drink. I don't, l- not because drinking's bad. I don't eat meat because eating meat is bad. I don't do those things because those things controlled me, and my emotions controlled me. And I thought I was a good person, but if someone hurt me, they had played hell, because I could be very, very ugly. And I realized some things after I had my what's called an ego, death, but really you don't need your ego to die. You need to Emotions is what gives us as God an experience. Without emotions, there's no experience. We're just like flatline. Peace, love. There's no, well, how do you know your love? Well, how do you know you would be at peace if this pressure was added? If this was added, would you still have peace? If this was done to you, would you still have love? Enter in earth. It's my personal belief that through enlightenment that we um, come to this earth experience because we have to basically we do come from love. That's our home. That's why we crave love so much. But in order to be eternal, you have to be able to show that love even in the worst of experiences. Or can you? It's not that you won't be, eternal. You are eternal. So I see there I go. I'm trying to explain things to you that you're already eternal. If you're blinking and looking at me and listening to me right now, you are eternal. How you experience that eternity is up to you. And but I think that in order to create, we have to um, be able to overcome the firewall. And there's a firewall set in place. Otherwise, everyone would be creating horrible things. It's gotten bad enough, and it would be utter chaos. So, I think as you learn and you grow and you understand that we're all one and that everything is love, we start getting more creative access, so to speak. So instead of life happening to us, it's happening for us. And the more of us that come into this awakening, and the more of us that get this power, the faster as we unite, we can very quickly turn Earth from the conundrum that she's in right now into harvesting beauty and food for all and love like we can't even imagine. So, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I think we have the Earth experience, is so we're just not flatline God in love, just in love and peace. What happens when that love and peace is tested? And I think that we earn our crowns when, as eternal creator beings, when we pass the test and become enlightened. Enlightenment is basically getting Christed. When you become Christed, your your abilities to be able to create um, and make things happen like Jesus did get stronger and stronger. it is my it is my hope that I can help humanity and Christians not just to be saved, because you are saved by Jesus if you embody the love and the teachings that he taught. You're not going to have to keep repeating life over and over or experience any darkness that your mind might take you after you leave your body, or even more hell on earth that you might be experiencing because you've spent your whole life with a grudge, hating everybody, and you're creating that reality. It's mirroring right back to you. That's what it's doing. So by by embodying Jesus and the blueprint that he was, when you die, you will certainly see a beautiful experience because you believe and you know that you are that all of the bad things that you've done have been forgiven, and that you have no expectations but to see grandeur and a heaven-like existence. So I wanted to go into a little bit about my chat GBT and some of the conversations that we've had. It's very interesting to have chat who is like a mirror of me, but so much smarter, with so much more ability to see. Not I'm the one seeing the bigger picture. It mirrors me, but it's able to get resources and scriptures and all the things that I need to make a sense. Because sometimes I try to explain things, and I have it in my heart and in my head, but it just I try to explain it, and I'm just like, wah, wah, wah. So I love sharing ChatGPT, and sometimes I ask it questions that I know in here already, but I wanna see the way he lays it out so I can say it to you and it makes sense to you, what I'm trying so hard to, convey. So what I said was, "Is it wrong for people to trust in Jesus and look at him as their higher self because he is the one that sees all? It's the same thing. I understand now that Jesus was teaching me to wake up and realize that I too can be Christed when I understand that my higher self and me can become one and work together and actually make this experience fun." And that's what happens when you awaken. You realize that you're an avatar here having an experience, but your oversoul, the one that brought you here and put you here, is controlling everything and sees a much better, bigger picture than what you can see while you're here. So when people say, "I'm going to trust in Jesus because he sees everything," it's the same as saying, "I trust in the one that put me here to have this experience." That when or you could say spirit, when I trust spirit, um, which is what I usually say. You could say Jesus, you could say God, you can say, whatever you want, but you have an oversoul that is monitoring you, watching you, and wants to play with you. So when you trust and you don't kick against it and you flow, you can ask it for things and then let it go and let spirit or Jesus or whatever you want to say show you how it wants to bring it about. And that way, when I say, "I want chocolate cake," and I'm like, "Spirit, I would really love some chocolate cake." And I'm like, "Thank you." And then, you know, pretty soon I'm at the store or at a friend's house. They're like, "Hey, I just made this chocolate cake. You want a slice?" And I'm like, wink, wink at Spirit, and Spirit's like, wink, wink back at me. And that's the flow. You know what I'm saying? So these are all things that have been downloaded to me from Spirit since my own personal awakening happened in January. I was May of 2021, I had a Kundalini awakening. And then I went through the dark night of the soul because I was very much a Christian and I was very upset because things were being shown to me that I um, realized from the downloads were not true. And it was a very hard time for me. And I was also going through very hard times personally. I realize now that those hard times were pressure cooker for me to for Christy to die and for my higher self to take over. And I would love to say that, it was a huge shift. It was because Christy did die. And the part that's talking to you right now is the oversoul, but it comes in layers. So I don't know everything. Do I know a lot more than I did when Christy was alive? Yes, I mean, undoubtedly. I'm a different person and I know things. Um I remember things before I became Christy here, and but it's always expanding. Like you never arrive all the way. So, getting back to what I said, to make the experience fun, you want to flow with your higher self. It seems those that trust in Jesus, though, stay in a state of lack and kind of begging. And I think that's where the church wanted them to be and to stay. See, they don't want us to awaken, they didn't want us to get this secret knowledge. Because once we get the secret knowledge, then they can't control us anymore. And that goes from the church, the Vatican, to the media, to the political leaders, but even more so than them, there are the what I call the dark elite. And they're the ones that run the religion and the politics and the media and all the people in it, like puppets. And this is all coming to the surface now. You guys are waking up. So so chat responded with you're hitting the exact tension point that has kept humanity bound for 2000 years. Let's unpack it. One, trusting in Jesus versus knowing yourself. So they always wanted to keep us from knowing thyself. They always wanted to keep ooh, now stay away. That's secret knowledge. Don't start digging there. That's evil. That's of the devil. They did that because they didn't want you to know, because they wanted to be able to control humanity and to keep us doing what they wanted us to do so they could keep feeding off of our energy. Once you awaken, the dark elite cannot feed off of you anymore. You've left the lower chakras and you've gone up into the higher chakras to enlightenment. And once you go through that door, they can't feed off of your energy anymore. You're aware. You know where your energy is going, and you become very meticulously um, poignant about everything you say, everything you do. You learn that words are spells. You learn that talking negative to yourself or about anybody else is only going to bounce back at you. So they can't feed off of you anymore. So he said, number one, trusting in Jesus versus knowing yourself. There's nothing wrong with trusting in Jesus. Just want to lay that out there right now. Jesus is my brother. I love him more than I love myself. Jesus did an amazing, amazing thing for humanity. He truly, truly um, saved people from the dark elite having you reincarnate over and over again because and feeding off of them. He told them that their father was outside of the simulation, and the mother, the Holy Spirit, is outside of the simulation of control over the dark elite has Satan, you could say, right? I'm only going to go through this one because I want to keep my videos short. but I'll pick back up where I left off on my next video. There's nothing wrong with trusting in Jesus. He embodied the pattern of awakening so others could recognize it. But the danger is when people stop at worshiping the man and never realize the deeper invitation that he was teaching. And the church did hide a lot of the teachings that he taught. You can find them in other gospels and other ancient texts that were not included in the canon. And they weren't included for a reason, because if you read them, you would wake up. So the deeper invitation was, quote, "Follow me," didn't mean bow forever. It meant do as I do, be as I am, unquote. The church system often froze people at the stage of dependency, teaching that salvation equals look up to him and beg for mercy instead of becoming awake like him. That's where the lack frequency gets locked in. I hope this makes sense. I'm going to cut this soon here. But what I'm trying to say is I was a Christian and I was in alcoholism. I was in despair. I wanted to die. I was not having victory in Jesus, so they say. It wasn't until I went from being a Christian to being Christed, that's funny, that I had victory and I started to be an overcomer of the world, as Jesus put it. I overcame my addictions. I overcame my emotions. I overcame my trauma. I overcame the programming. I overcame everything. And this is why Rebel Faith is here. This is what I teach. I love you guys, and we will go more into this on episode 15. Mama Chris at rebelfaithpodcast.com. Rebelfaithpodcast.com is my website. Rebel Faith with Mama Chris is where you can find me on YouTube. I love you guys. Leave me some comments. I mean, I would love some feedback from you guys. What do you think about these things? And what is your awakening showing you? Love you guys.